Hello, everyone. This is Tom Fox. I would like to welcome you to the Sunday Book Review. The Sunday Book Review is the series where I discuss books which impact the compliance practitioner, the legal professional, and the business professional. I hope you will enjoy this episode. The Sunday Book Review is a production of the Compliance Podcast Network. The Sunday Book Review for August 1, 2023, the National Book Award Edition Part 2. This is our second look at the nominees of the nonfiction category for the National Book Award. For Part 1, check out the episode last week of September 24. First up, The Rediscovery of America, Native Peoples and the Unmaking of U.S. History by Ned Blackhawk. Ned Blackhawk interweaves 5 centuries of native and non-native histories from Spanish colonial exploration to the rise of Native American self-determination. He shows that European colonization was never a predetermined success. Native nations helped shape England and their crisis of empire. The first shots of the American Revolution were prompted by Indian affairs. California Indians, targeted by federally funded militias, were among the first casualties of the Civil War. The Union victory forever recalibrated Native communities across the West, and 20th century reservation activists refashioned American politics. His retelling of U.S. history acknowledges the varied meanings of America. Next up, King, A Life by Jonathan Egg. This is the first full biography of Martin Luther King in decades. In it, it's the first to include recently declassified FBI files and the portrait of a preacher and activist who shook the word. In this landmark biography, the author gives us a king for our times, a deep thinker, a brilliant strategist, and a committed radical who led one of the world's greatest movements for equality. Next up, A Man of Two Faces, a memoir, a history, and a memorial by Viet, Nguyen. This is a book of the author's own life. He expands the genre of personal memoir by acknowledging the larger stories of refugeehood, colonialization, and ideas about Vietnam and America, writing with his trademark sardonic wit and incisive analysis. Profound in its emotions and brilliant thinking about cultural power, A Man of Two Faces explores the necessity of both forgetting and of memory, and the promises America so readily makes and breaks, the story of life, a life story of one of the most original and important writers working in this genre today. Next up, Slip, the New York City Street That Forever Changed Art by Prudence Peiffer. This is a never-before-told story of an obscure little street on Manhattan that changed the art world forever. And finally, When Crack Was King by Donovan Ramsey tells the kaleidoscopic story of the world of crack cocaine and how it devastated many inner city neighborhoods in the 1990s. What happened, how it occurred, and most importantly, what were some of the lessons learned or not learned on the war on drugs. I hope you will read one or more of these great books from the National Book Award list of nominees for nonfiction, and I hope you will join me again next week. Into the Compliance Podcast Network, it's Two Gurus Talk Compliance, where, with my friend and colleague Christy Grant Hart, we take a look at some of the top compliance commentary around. It's a long-form, up to 1 hour podcast, but if you're interested in compliance, if you're interested in Christy Grant Hart and myself talking about compliance, this would be a great podcast for you to check in on. It premiered on March 10th on the Compliance Podcast Network. I know you'll enjoy this latest offering. Additionally, we have Data-Driven Compliance, which is a podcast where I look at the use of data in compliance programs. This is perhaps the most cutting-edge podcast I have going right now. And if you're interested in how data can be used, how to structure a data analytics program, what tools are available out there for you, and how compliance practitioners are using data, this is certainly the podcast for you. So check out Data-Driven Compliance, all on the Compliance Podcast Network. The Sunday Book Review is a production of the Compliance Podcast Network.
This podcast is a part of the C-Suite Radio Network. For more top business podcasts, visit c-suiteradio.com.